It is a tale of ancient times in the city of Asteria, where a young merchant named Elias lived. Elias was famous throughout his region for his honesty, truthfulness, and his help for the poor. He never lied to anyone, nor did he ever adulterate his goods in trade. Because of this goodness, Allah had placed great blessing in his sustenance. One day, Elias decided to embark on a grand trading journey, where he would bring expensive cloth and spices from other countries to sell in his city. This journey was very long and dangerous because the road passed through dense forests, deserts, and areas infested with bandits. The day before he was to depart, Elias was passing through the outskirts of the city when he saw an old mystery man on the road. The mystery man was sitting under a tree and had nothing to eat. When Elias saw the weak mystery man, he felt great compassion for him. He immediately dismounted from his ride. He took out hot food and water from his bag and respectfully placed them before the mystery man. The mystery man ate the food, thanked Allah, and smiled as he looked at Elias. He reached into his tattered old bag and pulled out 3 gleaming golden arrows. They were not ordinary arrows. They were covered with beautiful carvings and designs. The mystery man placed all 3 arrows in Elias's hands and said with seriousness, "O young merchant, these arrows are not ordinary, and you are not to sell them in the market. They will serve you on this long journey. Whenever a difficulty comes in your life, where you feel that everything is lost and there is no way to escape, then you must shoot one of these arrows. But remember, before shooting each arrow, you must perform a good deed with a helpless animal, bird, or a poor person. If you shoot the arrow without doing a good deed, it will not work." Elias looked at the arrows in astonishment. He did not fully understand the mystery man's words, but he respectfully kept the arrows with him. He thanked the mystery man and set off on his journey with his large trading caravan. When Elias's caravan reached another city, he bought a great deal of inexpensive and high-quality goods there. Seeing his success, a local and cunning merchant named Harris became intensely jealous of Elias. Harris had a monopoly in the market, but he cheated people. He thought that if Elias left with all this merchandise, Harris's own shop would be ruined. Harris devised a dangerous plan to destroy Elias. In the darkness of night, he bribed the palace guard heavily and had the king's precious silk robes and diamond jewelry stolen from the royal palace. The very next morning, Harris had his men secretly hide the stolen royal goods in Elias's camel packs. Just as Elias's caravan was about to leave the city, the king's soldiers suddenly surrounded the entire caravan. The captain of the soldiers shouted angrily, "Halt! There has been a theft at the royal palace, and we have received information that the thief is in this caravan." Elias was completely untroubled because he knew he had done nothing wrong. But when the soldiers searched Elias's camel packs, everyone was stunned. The king's precious diamonds and royal robes were found inside the packs. Elias pleaded, "By God, I swear I am not a thief! I do not know how this goods came here." But the soldiers did not listen to him. They chained Elias and dragged him to the darkest and most terrifying dungeon in the city. All his goods and belongings were confiscated, and his honor was destroyed in an instant. Sitting in the black cell of the dungeon, Elias began to cry. He could not understand what had happened to him. The punishment for theft was only one death. Elias felt that the lamp of his life was about to be extinguished and that he would never return home. In that dark cell, Elias suffered for many days and nights. There was no ray of light there, nor anyone to hear his cries. Outside in the market, the cunning merchant Harris was celebrating that he had removed Elias from his path, while here Elias was awaiting his death sentence. One morning, a faint ray of sunlight entered through the small iron window of the dungeon. Elias raised his head and saw a small bird sitting on that window. The bird looked very weak and was opening its beak repeatedly due to thirst. It tried to fly but fell back due to weakness. Elias, forgetting his own condition, looked at the little creature. He felt great pity for it. He had a little water in a clay cup given by the jailer, which he himself had not yet drunk. Elias tore a piece from his shirt. He soaked it in water and, with great difficulty, climbed up along the wall to the window, bringing his hand close so that the bird could drink water from the cloth. The bird looked at Elias for a few seconds, as if trusting him. Then, slowly, it began to drink from the wet cloth. As soon as it drank, life seemed to return to the bird's wings. It looked at Elias, fluttered its wings, and flew away chirping. As the bird flew away, the words of the old mystery man suddenly echoed in Elias's mind like a flash of lightning. Whenever a difficulty comes in your life, where you feel that everything is lost, then you must shoot one of these arrows. But remember, before shooting each arrow, you must perform a good deed with a helpless animal or a poor person. Elias's heart pounded hard. He thought, I have just given water to that helpless bird. This could be my good deed. He immediately felt for his waistband, which the soldiers had overlooked in their haste. Inside were the 3 golden arrows, safe. With trembling hands, Elias took out the first golden arrow. He had no bow, but he remembered the mystery man's words. With all his heart, he recited, Bismillah, and threw the arrow with all his might at the solid stone wall in front of him. Elias thought the arrow would break or fall after hitting the wall. But what happened stunned him. As the golden arrow struck the wall, a bright golden light flashed. The wall did not break, but a large stone slid from its place, and behind it appeared an old, dusty leather bag. Elias stepped back in astonishment and fear. Then he gathered courage and pulled out the bag. When he opened it, there was no gold or silver inside, but an old map and some letters. Elias quickly began to read the letters in the dim light of the dungeon. As he read, his eyes widened in astonishment. The letters were not from anyone else, but from the cunning merchant Harris himself. That dungeon had actually been part of one of Harris's old warehouses years ago, which the government had later converted into a prison. In those letters, Harris had written with his own seal how he showed the routes of the royal palace to spies from other countries, and on that map was drawn the secret basement of the royal palace, where Harris used to hide stolen goods and treasonous documents. This was the greatest proof of Elias's innocence and a clear record of Harris's treachery. Elias pressed the letters and map to his chest. Now he understood how Allah had opened a path of salvation for him through the mystery man's arrow. He waited for nightfall, and when the same jailer who hated Harris came to give him food, Elias called him over. Elias showed the letters to the jailer and said, "Deliver these letters immediately to the army commander. If they are proven false, then kill me right now. But if they are true, the king will find out who his greatest enemy is." The jailer was stunned to see the letters, and immediately ran with them towards the royal palace. When the army commander saw Harris's letters and the secret map in the dark of night, the ground slipped from under his feet. He immediately took his special squad and headed towards the secret basement marked on the map, which was located in a deserted corner of the city. When the soldiers raided the place, they not only found the remaining stolen jewelry from the king's palace, but also recovered letters from the kings of other countries that proved Harris was plotting a great treason against this kingdom. The very next morning, by the king's orders, the cunning merchant Harris was chained and thrown into the very same dungeon, and Elias was released with full royal honor. The king apologized to Elias and returned all his confiscated goods and camels. The people of the city were very happy at Elias's innocence, and Harris, caught in his own trap, awaited his death sentence. Elias thanked Allah, who, through the blessing of giving water to a small bird, had saved him from such a great calamity. He prepared his camels and set off towards the next city to complete his trading journey. He now had 2 golden arrows left. After a few days of peaceful travel, he was crossing a vast and scorching desert when suddenly the weather changed. A terrifying sandstorm struck the desert. Tall walls of sand began advancing towards them. The storm was so fierce that Elias's caravan members and camels scattered in all directions. Elias covered his eyes and mouth with cloth, but the force of the storm separated him completely from his caravan. When the storm subsided hours later, Elias was completely alone. For miles around, there were only sand dunes, and there was no trace of his caravan. The biggest problem was that due to the storm, his camel and water skins had also disappeared. Due to the intense sun, scorching sand, and severe thirst, Elias's throat began to dry up. He walked for many hours on foot, until his courage gave out due to thirst and heat, and he collapsed under the shade of a rock. He thought that he had escaped death in the dungeon, but now in this scorching desert, he would die of thirst. At that moment, from the other side of the rock, he heard a faint sound of someone moaning and crying. Elias, dragging himself with great difficulty, peeked behind the rock. An old traveler was lying on the sand, gasping for breath due to extreme thirst. The old man had a small clay water jug, but it was completely empty. The old man kept raising his hands towards the sky and saying, "Oh my Lord, give me just one sip of water." Elias himself had no water, but seeing the old man's condition, he felt more pity for him than for himself. Elias looked at his own clothes. He thought, even if he had no water, he could at least protect the old man from the sun. Elias took off his expensive cloak. Using the rocks for support, he shaded the old man's head and began wiping the hot sand from his face with his sleeve. He placed the old man's head in his lap and tried to give him courage, even though he himself was close to death. Just as Elias gave shade to the poor helpless traveler and tried to ease his suffering, he remembered the mystery man's condition. He thought, even if I have no water, giving shade to a dying person in this scorching desert is also a good deed. With trembling hands, Elias took out the second golden arrow from his waist. With complete hope and faith in his heart, he recited, "Bismillah," and thrust the arrow into the hot sand before him. As soon as the golden arrow went into the sand, a miracle happened. The sand around the arrow began to bubble as if there was a spring there. Within seconds, a spring of cool and sweet water burst forth from under the dry and scorching sand. Elias's eyes remained wide open with joy and astonishment. The water flowed so quickly that it formed a small pool beside the rock. Elias immediately cupped his hands and took the water. First, he gave it to the old traveler's mouth, and then he quenched his own thirst. As soon as they drank the cold water, life returned to both of them. When the old traveler saw this miracle, he fell at Elias's feet. But Elias helped him up and said, "This is not my miracle, it is from Allah, the reward for the kindness we have shown to one another." But the story did not end here. Just as the two of them recovered after drinking the water, the sound of horse hooves began to be heard from a distance, and dust clouds appeared. Elias looked in alarm. Someone was approaching them swiftly, and they had gleaming weapons in their hands. Elias and the old traveler were still recovering near the spring when the band of armed riders came very close and stopped. Elias's heart pounded hard, thinking they might be the ruthless bandits of the desert coming to rob or kill them. The leader of the riders, whose face was covered with a cloth, dismounted from his horse. When he saw the bubbling spring of sweet water in the middle of the scorching desert, his eyes widened in astonishment. He sheathed his sword, removed the cloth from his face, and said to Elias, "Young man, who are you, and where did this magical spring come from in this desolate desert?" "We have been wandering for the past 2 days looking for water. Our horses and our companions were near death from thirst. If we had not found this water today, we would all have perished." Elias breathed a sigh of relief. He saw that these were not bandits, but a lost party of travelers. Elias smiled and said, "This is not magic, but the mercy of my Lord and yours, which has opened a path of water here to save all our lives. Please, all of you, drink water to your fill, and also give it to your animals." They all drank water to their fill, thanked Allah, and their lives were restored. The leader thanked Elias and told him that they were guards of a large caravan passing through the same route. He told Elias that due to the storm, Elias's own trading caravan had also stopped at a safe place some distance away, and they were all looking for Elias. The leader placed Elias and the old traveler on their horses and delivered them back to Elias's caravan. Seeing his companions and camels safe and sound, Elias's happiness knew no bounds. Now he had his goods, his honor was restored, and his life was saved. He gave the old traveler some money and supplies so he could return home, and Elias himself continued forward with his caravan. After several months of successful travel and trade, Elias earned a great profit and returned to his city, Asteria. He was now richer than ever before, but there was not a trace of pride in his heart, because he knew that all of this was not due to his own ability, but by the unseen help of Allah. Upon returning to the city, Elias's first task was to search for the old mystery man who had given him the 3 golden arrows. He went to every corner of the city, but he could not find the mystery man anywhere. One evening, as Elias was sitting in the courtyard of his house, a beggar knocked at his door. Elias went outside and saw an extremely poor, weak, and sick person standing there. His clothes were torn, and he was trembling from hunger. He was not a mystery man, but a common poor man, defeated by the hardships of life. He said to Elias, "O Elias, I have heard that you are a generous merchant, and you never send anyone away empty-handed. My children have been hungry for days, and I have no strength left to work. Please help me." As soon as Elias saw the helpless man, his heart melted. He thought, "Allah has given me so much. If I do not help him, there would be no one more ungrateful than me." Elias called him inside his house, gave him new clothes, and arranged for months' worth of rations for his children. He also placed a large portion of his earnings in the form of gold coins in the poor man's hands, so that he could start his own small business. The poor man wept with joy and left, giving Elias countless blessings. Just as the man departed, Elias suddenly remembered that he still had one last golden arrow left, and he had just performed a great good deed by helping a poor person. Although at that time Elias was in no trouble, he was safe and peaceful in his home. But curiosity arose in his heart. What was the secret of this 3rd arrow? Why had the mystery man given it? Elias went into his room, took the last shining golden arrow from his waistband, and with complete devotion and humility, recited Bismillah, and thrust the arrow into the soil of his courtyard. As soon as the arrow went into the soil, there was no flash of light, no wall broke, and no spring burst forth. Elias watched in astonishment, thinking nothing had happened. But the very next moment, an incredibly beautiful and sweet fragrance spread through the atmosphere of his courtyard, and a deep voice echoed in his ears like a secret call. That voice was not of a human, but came from within his own heart, saying, "O Elias, the first arrow saved you from the evil of the deceitful people of this world, and granted you freedom from imprisonment. The second arrow pulled you from the scorching sand and the mouth of death and gave you life. And this 3rd arrow, which you shot not because of any worldly sorrow or difficulty, but merely for the sake of pleasing Allah, by helping a poor person. This arrow has opened for you not the success of this world, but success in the hereafter and the path to paradise. Your good deed has been accepted in the court of Allah, and your name has been written among the grateful servants." Tears flowed from Elias's eyes. He fell into prostration on that very soil and wept as he thanked his Lord. He understood that the true arrow was not that piece of gold, but that real power was the goodness and faith that saves a person from every difficulty and brings honor in this world and the hereafter. From that day onward, Elias dedicated his entire life to the service of Allah's creation, and his story became the greatest example of faith and trust in all of Asteria. Friends, this story teaches us a lesson. When a human being shows mercy upon Allah's creation, whether it is a small bird, a helpless traveler, or a poor person, then in return, Allah opens paths of salvation and success for that person from places they could never imagine. Goodness and trust in Allah are the greatest cures for all the troubles of the world. They not only protect a person from the deceitful people and difficult circumstances of this world, but also secure their hereafter.